Hello fellow book nerds! Let's find out what books are coming out in March. So March is a really exciting month. There's a lot of LGBTQ+ books coming out that I'm excited about. And if you don't know, I'm doing this series where I'm telling you all the books coming out, and then you please vote in the comments, vote on Twitter, let me which book you want me to read and review. I have several videos in this series already. March is a very exciting month. I have so many books, it was so hard to narrow it down, but I've got 8 with a bonus. I'm gonna go through all the books in the order of publication. So the first book, you probably know which one's gonna be, because probably everyone's pretty excited about it, but it's The Chain of Iron by Clara. So this is the second book in the Chain of Gold, no, what is it called actually? Darkest Hours? Chain of Gold trilogy series? So this one's coming out on March 2nd. It's a fantasy series and it's a little bit complicated. So if you're not familiar with this series, it's part of the bigger Shadowhunters universe, which is a universe created by Clara, with the first book in all of the series being City of Bones, so maybe you've heard about that one. But basically each series kind of follows different characters, and this series is a series that slots right between Infernal Devices and Immortal Instruments. So it's somewhere in between there, and it's about kids of people from the Infernal Devices series. I would say you can read this series just by itself, but you might be confused and you'll definitely be spoiled for the previous series. But let me give you a gist that doesn't spoil everything. So basically in this we follow Cordelia, who's a shadow hunter living in outside of society, somewhere in the countryside. And shadow hunters are these demon fighters, basically, that's all you need to know. So anyway, Cordelia moves to the city of London because she wants to get in with all the popular shadow hunter kids because her father's on trial. And in the popular shadow hunter kids, we have James, Matthew, and some other characters. They're all very cool, they're all very nice. The whole series is pretty good, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how much appeal it holds if you have not read any of the other Shadowhunters books, but I've read the first book. I even have a review if you wanted to check that out, and I'm excited for the second book. But let's move on to some books that you might be interested in because they're not sequels. So the next book coming out on March 2nd as well is Clara and the Sand by Kazuo Ishiguro. So this book is a sci-fi novel, and it sounds really weird and bizarre. So let me read you the synopsis. So Clara and the Sand is the first book by the author Kazuo Ishiguro since he has won the Nobel Prize in Literature, which is pretty exciting. And it tells the story of Clara, an artificial friend with outstanding observational qualities who, from her place in the store, watches carefully the behavior of those who come in to browse and of those who pass on the street outside. She remains hopeful that a customer will come choose her soon. That sounds amazing. That sounds so meta. It has so much room for exciting meta commentary. So I'm very excited. I have not read anything else by this author, but it sounds really good, really out of what I'm normally reading. So I think that's why I'm super excited for it, because it's so different than what I normally read, but I want to expand my horizons, you know. So next up we have Sweet and Bitter Magic by Adrienne Tolley. So this is a YA fantasy with LGBTQ+ characters coming out on March 9th. So I know this is a female-female romance, and let me tell you the synopsis. Tamsin is the most powerful witch of her generation, but after committing the worst magical sin, she's exiled by the ruling coven and cursed with the inability to love. The only way she can get those feelings back, even for just a little while, is to steal love from others. Ren is a source, a rare kind of person who is made of magic despite being unable to see it herself. Sources are required to train with the covens as soon as they discover their abilities, but Ren, the only caretaker of her alien father, has spent her life hiding her secret. When the magical plague ravages the kingdom, Ren's father falls victim. To save him, Ren proposes a bargain. If Tamsin will help her catch the dark witch responsible for creating the plague, then Ren will give Tamsin her love for her father. Oh, that's so sad. Okay, I did not read the whole thing before, I just liked the cover. But that's so sad. And these two fall in love, I assume. I don't know. But it sounds like they will. Oh my god, it's breaking my heart. I love it. This one sounds wonderful, beautiful, and the girls are holding hands, and I think it's beautiful. Next book is very exciting because it's about mermaids, and it's called All the Murmuring Bones by A.G. Slater and Angela Slater. So I think they're related somehow. So this is a fantasy horror coming out on March 9th as well. This one is about long ago, Myron O'Malley's family prospered due to the deal struck with the mayor. Safety for their ships, in return for a child of each generation. But for many years, the family have been unable to keep their side of the bargain and have fallen into decline. Mirren's grandmother is determined to restore their glory, even at the price of Mirren's freedom. So, I know it has mermaids, and it sounds like the mermaids are pretty sinister, and someone's gonna go visit the mermaids. If you don't know, I'm obsessed with mermaids. So for me, it sounds super interesting, and I'm intrigued, I'm interested. I don't know if it's any good, but mermaids. Oh, next one is super exciting. So this one's Firekeepers Daughter by Angeline Boulay. So this one's a YA thriller coming out on March 16th. And I believe that it's by an indigenous author. It sounds super intriguing. So let me read you the synopsis. As a biracial, unenrolled tribal member and the product of a scandal, 18-year-old Donis has never quite fit in, both in her hometown and on the nearby Ojibwe reservation. Donis dreams of studying medicine. But when her family is struck by tragedy, she puts her future on hold to care for her fragile mother. The only bright spot is meeting Jamie, the charming new recruit on her brother Levi's hockey team. Yet even as Donis falls for Jamie, certain details don't add up and she senses the dashing hockey star is hiding something. Everything comes to light when Donis witnesses a shocking murder, thrusting her into the heart of a criminal investigation. Reluctantly, Donis agrees to go undercover, but secretly pursues her own investigation, tracking down the criminals with her knowledge of chemistry and traditional medicine. So that just sounds really intriguing and super exciting. And it sounds kind of like this Nancy Drew meddling teenager trying to solve the crime on her own. But I really enjoy that. And you know what? I watch Scooby-Doo a lot. I love meddling teenagers. So the next book is Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. So this is an adult fantasy, again with LGBTQ plus characters, and I believe it's a sapphic romance, and it's coming out March 23rd. And if you guys interested, I know that Katy has a whole book club which reads LGBTQ plus books, and I think The Unbroken is their book for March. I'm gonna link that info down below if you want to check it out. But let me tell you what it's about. Terrain is a soldier, stolen as a child and raised to kill and die for the Empire. Her only loyalty is to her fellow conscripts. But now her company has been sent back to her homeland to stop a rebellion, and the ties of blood might be stronger than she thought. Luca needs a turncoat, someone desperate enough to tiptoe bayonet's edge between treason and orders, someone who can sway the rebels towards peace while Luca focuses on what really matters, getting her uncle off the throne. So basically, it's like a romance between the soldier, I assume, the guard, and the princess or something. I'm super excited, like I said, as a sapphic romance, and it sounds really interesting, and I don't know too much about it, but the cover and everything about it appeals to me. I would really love to read a little bit more of adult fantasy as well, so this is perfect. The two next books are more on the side of thrillers. If you know me, you know I love thrillers, so very excited. So the seventh book is Every Vow You Break by Peter Swanson. So this is a thriller coming out on March 23rd. I first heard about it from Meg, actually, from Meg with Books. So this book we follow Abigail, who has fallen in love with a millionaire, is about to be married, all is well, until she cheats on her future husband the day before the wedding. And she thinks, no big deal, no harm done, he doesn't have to know, right? Cheater. But turns out that the guy she cheated on with goes to where her honeymoon is, and he's kind of like, we're made for each other, blah, 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 crazy nonsense. A little affair can prove a little bit problematic. Hopefully people will die. So the last book is The Lost Village by Camilla Stan. So this is a horror novel, and it's also coming out on March 23rd. And this one is about a documentary filmmaker, Alice Linstead, who has been obsessed with the vanishing city of old mining town dubbed The Lost Village. Since she was a little girl in 1959, her grandmother's entire family disappeared in this mysterious tragedy. And ever since, the unanswered questions surrounding the only two people who were left, a woman stoned to death in the town center and an abandoned newborn, have plagued her. She's gathered a small crew of friends in the remote village to make a film about what really happened. But there will be no turning back. Not long after they've set up camp, mysterious things begin to happen. Equipment is destroyed, people go missing, as doubt breeds fear and their very minds begin to crack. One thing becomes startlingly clear to Alice. They are not alone. I think that hook. It's like for fans of Midsummer, and of course I've never seen Midsummer. It's way too scary, but I know everything about it, and I watch all the kinds of explanations, and I know everything that happens in the plot, and it sounds like my kind of story, so maybe I can read it and not be scared, you know. Okay, the last book is a bonus, and it's for fans of middle grade. So I had to mention it because it's by one of my all-time favorite authors, Amanda Foody, who's the author of Ace of Shades trilogy. But this is The Accidental Apprentice by Amanda Foody, and like I said, it's a middle grade fantasy coming out March 30th. And I personally don't read too much middle grade, but if I were gonna read any middle grade, I'd read Amanda Foody's middle grade, so I might check it out at some point. This is the synopsis. The last thing Barclay Throne ever wanted was an adventure. Thankfully, as an apprentice to the town's mushroom farmer, Barclay need only work hard and follow the rules to one day become the head mushroom farmer himself. No danger required. But then Barclay accidentally breaks his town's most sacred rule. Never, ever, ever stay in the woods, for within the woods lurk vicious magical beasts. To Barclay's horror, he faces a fate far worse than being eaten. He unwittingly bonds with a beast and is run out of time by an angry mob. Determined to break his bond and return home, Barclay journeys to find the mysterious town of Lorekeepers, people who have also bonded with beasts and share their powers. So this one sounds really cute and really adorable, and what I like about it is that the main character is like a reluctant, you know, like I feel like a lot of at times the main character wants an adventure so bad, and they're the special one because they want an adventure. This boy's like, just let me live my life, let me have my mushrooms, let me be myself, and he's gonna get an adventure. So I think that's super cool and cute and exciting. And like I said, Amanda Foody, I love you. If you ever watch this, can we be friends? Alright, so tell me which books you found the most interesting out of this list, which ones you are most excited about for March, whether on this list or not. Maybe I'm missing out on even more amazing books. I am super duper excited on what you're going to choose, so please vote on Twitter or in the comments. Just write which book you want me to read. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and comment and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps me out. Otherwise, I will see you in my next video. Bye!